Hey, video. Hey, guys. With this background, we're going to start talking at what we wanted to talk about. How do we take this amazing piece of music and convert it into an NFT? And
All
then,
right.
Sharon, keep playing. This is the best way. This is the only way we should
Keep
be
playing.
doing
Use
it.
it as background and set
Yeah, we
up.
should be playing music
gonna,
and talking
yeah.
about using NFTs at the same time.
I love it. Love it. So
All right. So
you have the
can I
track.
see a hand? Can you guys see my screen share?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to start talking about what is NFT about before we get into how we NFTize music. So non-fungible tokens are just an ownership certificate. They just define that we own a certain piece of thing. So if I go ahead and play 10 minutes of music or 1 second of music, or if I just write something on a piece of paper and I give it to you, Simon, and I say, hey, Simon, I am giving you the rights to own it, that becomes an NFT. The only difference is paper documents are super difficult to trade on the internet. So we try to use the blockchain, which makes this contract super easy to trade. So we're going to jump right into a demo of how we can create this NFT from this site. And you all kind of blockchain is something that's just an open ledger is sitting in the cloud where we can put any data out there. And because blockchain is real money, we always have what's called testnet. On my screen, I'm going to jump into the testnet of our product. So in order to NFTize something, you have to go ahead, you go to create, and you click this button. It asks you to upload your WAV file. It has to be a WAV file. It cannot be an MP3 or something, because what we are setting up is the original track. So it has to be recorded at least, it has to be sampled at least 44.1K and all that good stuff. So when you have that high definition file, so test my new WAV file. So we go ahead and do that. We do save changes. And you guys get onto this screen. So up here, one of the things that we are trying completely different with colourBox is if you go to one-off, I don't want to talk about one-off. They're actually selling bragging rights, so, which is weird. But there are some other NFT sites where you can go ahead and kind of take your own track, take that whole track and set it up for sale. Now, I had a problem with that because, first of all, if I want to keep my whole track for sale, if I want to sell it to someone, I want to sell it for at least a couple $1,000s because it takes me like a long time to make those tracks. I don't want to sell it for less than that. But the NFT market or the music market is not ready to buy from not somebody that you really know $1,000 worth of track. Normally people buy like $10 or $20 tracks. So how do we take this whole $1,000 worth of work and turn it into different $10 slices? So we came up with this idea of slicing this track. So this track that you can see on my screen is 34 seconds. So it gets converted into 340 NFTs. So up here on this slider, you can choose. So when we NFTize this track, it's going to take the entire thing and just NFTize it. But you can choose how much of it you want to set up for market. So I don't want to sell them for $1 each. I want to sell each of my tracks for, say, each of these slices for $5 or 41. And I want to sell less than half of my track. So what I'm telling here is out of these 340 slices of my new track, I want to sell only 81 slices out of it with the goal of raising $356. That's too less. Let's add a zero. It's testnet. We can add zeros. So I want to sell each of my slices for, so we can play around with this number. 150, too much, maybe. Okay, $17. I want to sell each of my slices for $17, and I want to sell around 100 slices, and I'm going to raise around $2,000 from my 30 seconds track. That's my goal. Now, of course, that might not happen, and just with any other market, you can go ahead and change those prices after they're set up. So there's two things we are doing. We are creating NFTs of the token. And if creating NFT does not give away the right, all you're doing is instead of owning one digital media track, now I would end up owning 340 slices, digital slices of the track. And I choose to put 115 of that online for sale. So now we click that magic button, mint my NFTs. There is a little bit of administrative fees to create that. So we can pay that either through, so I'm going with an assumption that we do not have a crypto wallet, like we do not have a HarmonyOne or Ethereum wallet. So this site allows us to create our NFTs using credit cards or PayPal. So up here, I'm going to just type in this is a test site, and you guys can read it. It's testnet.colourbox.io. I'm going to add it there. You can just go ahead and try it out. This is a testnet. This shows everything that's happening on the main crypto site, but it does that on a test platform without spending any real money. So everything in blockchain always has a testnet associated with it. So there you go, the payment has been accepted and it is working on creating my site. Now, because we are actually selling something substantial, we are not just selling empty promises or as really, I went to the One-Off's website and they're saying all they're selling is bragging rights. We are actually selling something more substantial, not we. So at this point, this musician is selling little slices of their track. And how the selling works is you actually hire yourself or the autonomous label. So colourBox is the world's first decentralized label, which means to the music world, it looks like a music label. It does everything that Sharon was talking about, as the union does. It collects your royalties from Spotify, from Sound Exchange, from ASCAP and BMI, and it sends you the check. The only difference is there is no individual person maintaining it. You yourself own this part of the label. So you manage it all. The money comes in, it comes in through an agent that you have chosen, and that agent simply takes that fiat and converts it into crypto and puts it here, and the entire accounting from how the money came in, after it has left like the big black box of music distribution, it's all transparent. So you know exactly where your money is going. So this is what we are trying to fix here. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that you have hired colourBox to be your distribution agent. So at this point, you will probably get a DocuSign document saying that I give colourBox the right to sell slices of my track. And we are still kind of figuring out exactly how that will work. So that's the only document you have to sign. Once you have signed it for one of the track, you won't have to do it again for the next track. But this is what we have to wait. So this can take whatever time. We sign the documents, we make sure everything is kosher. As the product goes bigger, we want to go ahead and also look at automated software, which makes sure people are not, taking advantage of the system and uploading other people's music. So we want to be super careful about it. So at this point, let's say it is done, and I am the owner of a new NFTs. So if you look at this track, it is showing that I have two slices. I have one slice that's available for sale. That's from slice 0 to 116. Which is for 100 ones. And the other one is from 117 to 339, which is not for sale. But I could go ahead and update the slices for sale and kind of play around with the market. I could reduce the price. When you do that update for sale, you can also go ahead and make an option to say that, okay, I only wanted to have this price for 7 days or 2 days and do all kind of special work. So this allows us, go ahead, Rita.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dee, for walking us through the process. There's a really good question right now by DJ Nirav, another amazing musician from Montreal. What up, Nirav? He says, could you revisit the point about agent? I didn't get that. Was it metaphorical? Did we actually get assigned an agent who handles stuff for us? I think that's really a really good, valid question before we get deeper into the mechanic of how the NFT is actually transacted. I think the first part of the queue where you're uploading your content, figuring out how to handle the process of interfacing with it, figuring out the legality of, am I allowed to even use this track? Are there some fee on it? Is it tied to another contract? At the moment, we're still really at the early pre-beta stage where we don't have a proper agent in-house to be able to facilitate that process. However, the vision is really to take the funds that are coming in and will be coming in through the excitement for NFT and rechannel that to support the artists directly, support them in terms of legal fees, in terms of legal orientations, but also support them in terms of creative and technology endeavors, such as Sharon was sharing earlier. One of the challenges that a lot of musicians are experiencing is that we struggle with technology sometimes. And so have the proper framework to be able to not only help the process of selling it, but also knowing where to go, who to connect with, and really create a community of people that support themselves. colourBox created this vision for the future, and Dee and I really see as musicians the value to create not only a vision, but really a community behind the vision. So I hope that answers your question, and I'll let Dee finish the process. And just thank you, Sharon. She has to go. Unfortunately, she won't be able to stay with us for the whole thing. Thank you so much for playing today, and we look forward to have you back on the colourBox live webinars.
Oh, awesome.
Right.
I look forward to it, and I look forward to learning more about this and getting into it. Thank you, Dee.
This track that you've played right now is going to be minted today. Exciting stuff.
I'm super excited.
So you know nothing about crypto, right? You're not really like you get some.
No, I bought like $100 of Bitcoin on my PayPal.
That's as far as you got.
That's as far as I got. It was like one little button. I did it because it was easy.
Right.
But you know what? I feel like cutting edge without having to do any work right now. Thank you for involving me. I'm super excited, and I hope that this helps a lot of musicians because I feel very passionately about that. Whether they're musicians who are established or ones who haven't yet got their voice out, I think it's super exciting.
Right, definitely. And I think next time we have you, I'm going to walk you through the reality of the crypto industry a little bit more. Today, we kind of want to spend some time with the people that are here to take a look, first really early stage look at the product itself. But as we get together on this weekly webinar, we're going to talk more about the context of NFT, how we got there from like the crash of 2008 all the way to today, Bitcoin, Ethereum, smart contracts, all this fun stuff. So tune in. Looking forward to have you back on the cast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Sharon.
Bye.
All right, so take it away, Dee. And anyone that has some questions, please fire away. I'm monitoring the chat. I'll jump in and make sure that you get some answers.
Okay, so Nirav, also the another answer of agent is, so colourBox is like CD Baby or Bandcamp meets NFT. So it does everything, or it's on our roadmap to do everything that Bandcamp or CD Baby will do. So once you upload your music here, you have a choice to push it out to the 300 digital distribution organizations of this earth, where it gets streamed to Spotify, CD Baby, Amazon Music, and all those things. It's your choice. You could do it. You could also send it back. So you do everything that you're doing normally, plus you mint NFTs. So when Spotify sends the check, of course, if you have sold half of your track, half of that streaming revenue will go to the people that own that NFT. So that's the only difference up here. In the colourBox protocol, there is a concept to create actual agents that will work on equity basis to work with you. So for example, if somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I'm a music agent and I really want to work with you, Simon, he could go ahead and say, I will work with you, but you need to give me like 25% of your NFTs so that once you hit it big, I can go ahead and profit from that. Does that answer your question, Nirav?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Thanks. And also, thank you for clarifying about the profit sharing aspect of owning slices of the NFT.
So that's the innovation. And if there is any blockchain people up here? Rev and Tony, are you guys from blockchain or music? Or both, of course.
Music.
Okay, perfect. So we had to come up with some sort of. It's very difficult. It's the problem with minting NFTs is it's an expensive process. So we came up with a way to do this kind of lazy minting where we can actually create the. Our goal is to have say around 2,500 slices for a regular 4-minute track. So if we did it the normal minting way, it'll be prohibitively expensive. So that's why we came up with some tech work. But let's not worry about it. So we'll get back to the presentation. So I have this nice, go ahead.
I got a question.
Yeah, Dave.
Are they being minted on Ethereum? Is it being?
If you look at it, when you go to mint it, this one I minted on the HarmonyOne. And I will tell you why I'm minting it on the HarmonyOne. If we look at this track, the cost of minting this track has been less than $1 right now. It's actually 8 cents. If I minted the same track in Ethereum, it would be around $250.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So it doesn't make any sense to do it on Ethereum. And why? First of all, we have a choice to mint on whatever. When you do this, let me go ahead and do another track. So I'll just add another track.
I'm not familiar with that network. I just had learned the other day that it's a lot cheaper to do it with like Solana or,
Yes, it is cheaper with Solana. It is cheaper with pretty much Ethereum is the only one that's sitting completely like in a super expensive way and is very
cheap. Right. Okay.
So we are multi-chain. Like I could go ahead and actually choose to do this on Ethereum.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We are going to support Ethereum. We are going to support Harmony. We are going to support Tezos because those are compatible with Ethereum. Solana runs in its own world and is not compatible.
Yeah.
Why we are focusing on HarmonyOne to be in the beginning, because HarmonyOne has this awesome thing called an Ethereum bridge. So you mint your track and you're good to go, and then your track starts getting traction, and then it's getting on Saturday Night Live or something like that. That is a great time to spend the $200 and move it to the Ethereum network.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Harmony is as secure. Harmony these days is backed by the Binance chain. So it is secure. There is no problem with the security out there. But of course, it's a great idea for it to start getting traction. And if you're seeing a lot of traction, it will automatically kind of move to the gold standard, which is Ethereum. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. And is it possible to not break it into a whole bunch of sections and mint a song whole?
You have minted a song whole. It's just creating. So if I go ahead and do the whole thing up here, right, it is going to mint the whole thing. Like if you look at my previous track, even though I have spoken about 350 sections, the actual NFTs are only 2. Half of it, which I have put for sale, and half that I have not.
Got it.
Let me get into the buying portion of it, and that makes even more sense. So till someone is making an effort to buy something, your NFTs, your track is not broken. Let me get to the next phase. I'm going to sign out of here so that I can see the buy button. And I'm going to go back to the track. So you can see it is saying buy NFT and only one of the slices available for sale, right? I click on that. It's telling me, okay, you want to buy the entire 117 slices that are available for sale for okay. I want to say no. I actually am not interested in the whole thing. I'm only interested in 12 slices because I only want to spend much less money. There's some bug up here. It's not showing me the amount correctly. Okay, yeah, there we go. It fixes it. So it is telling me I want to buy 9 slices beginning at slice 3. Actually, I don't want to buy the beginning. I want to buy like that part, just that part. And now we're going with it. I want to buy that part because I want to resample it. And I'm going to give it to Nirav, and he's going to put and finally come up with a shuna. All right. So I want to buy just that part for $154, and I go buy NFT. And this is the point. Again, we have an option of buying it through crypto or buying it through credit card. At this point, when we are buying it, that's when the slices will be broken. So we are giving an option for people because nobody, otherwise, the only one that can buy the whole thing is for the whole $2,000, which might be a little pushing for one person.
Is that one piece, when you buy that one piece, is it no longer available for anyone else?
To buy? No.
So it is that one piece exists only as one thing and is not resellable in multiple places.
No, this is the NFT, non-fungible. Everything you're buying is unique.
So it is like one of a kind.
It's one of a kind.
Yeah.
You get to own this. You get to own this, and when you hear it playing in a club, and you hear this like snare kick coming in, it's like, hey, you know what? I own that snare. That's mine. The rest of it, I don't care. That's not mine. Go repeat, rewind. That's it. That's mine.
That's great.
I love it. Oh my God. So of course, in a sense, each of this track becomes a company, becomes a distributed organization on its own. So if we end up selling like 80% of it, we kind of lose most of it. But if we are selling it under 50%, we are still in control, just like anything else. So, BMI calls or Sony calls, they're like, hey, I love your track. I want to put it in this porn movie. We can say no. Right? But if you have sold 80% of it, you have no other options. So that's the idea. So we start looking at each of this as a community property.
So that raises an interesting question, and that's a concept that maybe some people that aren't really into crypto or familiar with NFT at this moment might go like, what are you talking about? How would I lose control of my music? And that's where, if you rewind a bit at the beginning of the presentation, where colourBox asked to sign a release for your track. When you're signing it off, you're basically authorizing colourBox to act on your behalf as CD Baby would, or as any label would.
The colourBox is a label. The only difference is it's not a label owned by somebody else. It's a label owned by the track owner.
And so what's particularly interesting is that if you have a group of fans, whether they're 10 people or 10,000 people, and they buy into your music, and then they can contribute not only their ideas, but they also participate in the governance of where that music may go. So it incentivizes them to share it, to push it, if they have contacts in the music industry. So you're really going beyond the traditional crowdfunding, here's a t-shirt, thank you for supporting me. You're onboarding people that become invested into your music because they have a vested interest in seeing the value of their slice go up. Dee, would you like to wrap up the presentation? Maybe.
Yeah, let's see. So we can just go ahead and actually buy one. So I will say not connected, switch to this account.
Meanwhile, if there's any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat so we can address them before closing for today.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. One is, say you go ahead and you sell 500 slices, and then you do get a deal with a movie, say, and you're a minority shareholder in that. How does that decision-making process actually occur?
So
who can sign that contract? Say I get a contract from Peter Jackson to put one of my songs on one of his movies, who signs that contract if 80% of the song's owned by some random people on the internet?
Right. So first of all, most of the contracts are always signed with your label and rarely with an individual musician. If someone likes your song, the first thing you're going to get a phone call and a question will be asked is, who is representing you? Who's your label? So at this point, colourBox is your label, and so just assume, forget about NFT. If you just signed up with colourBox Incorporated music label company, they're going to sign on your behalf, and you will do all the negotiations, and nothing will change. So nothing changes here. The only difference.
Assuming you have, well, I mean, a lot of independent artists don't have a label, and like what you're talking about with CD Baby or something, they don't have anything to do with it if I sell the rights to some, that is distribution.
If you upload to CD Baby, I mean, you can do whatever you want till they come after you. But once you upload your music to CD Baby, you have to pull it out of there before you can go ahead and sell it yourself. You are signing with CD Baby. You are giving them the right to sell it.
So that brings us to one of the questions in the thread right now. Dave H is asking, are the rights of the NFT exclusive? Part of the contract work that we're looking into right now and is defining to which level of exclusivity. For example, CD Baby's term of agreement, as Dee was establishing, requires you to pull them out. We might be able to create a framework where you can use them for specific usage with the support of your NFT holders, for example. And that's where the power of having decentralized organizations around NFTs comes in, is that if your backers are saying, well, we want it to go on the Peter Jackson movie, or we don't want it to go on this porn movie, to reuse Dee's example, then that facilitates a sense of exclusivity that's dynamic and modular. And so that's something that couldn't be done with a traditional label. The label would decide, I accept or I reject. And the artist has basically forfeited their right the minute they sign with the label, unless they retain a majority of ownership, depending on their contract.
It's impossible. When you sign with a label, that's it. There is nothing you can do about it. Your master is the property of the label.
So that's a really interesting question. Thank you, Dave H. and Simon. I think our next webinar, I would like to dive in deeper into the exclusive aspect of NFT and the contract work. And maybe we'll try to have a music lawyer at some point on the show so we can kind of dive deeper into how the industry works and how we're different and what we're adding to it. For today, I would move on from that question because that's a very large open question of its own.
Yeah.
And next question
and specifically how that governance would work if all these other people are deciding, who asks them.
How this governance work is.
Well, Dee, may I just put a pin because there's another question I was just about to.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a large question. We can talk about it. I'm open to it, but we might be on it until midnight tonight.
Okay, all right. We'll jump on the next one, then we'll get back to
very deep. I think on the next webinar, I would suggest that we have proper documentation for you guys to actually, kind of have a sense of where we're going with this. We've had a lot of conversations about what that would look like. At this point, this is still, fresh out of the ovens. You guys are basically the first early stage.
This is the first time we are presenting it. That's so cool, and I'm doing it with all of you guys. Oh my God, that's
fantastic. I'm also curious about the fees. What fees are involved in having you represent the artists and their material, and how that works?
Okay, so I'm going to answer Jason's question. Are artist payments sent to the crypto of choice to the artist wallet? Yes. If you have crypto, you will get crypto. If you want cash payment, then you will have to, make sure we have to do the whole KYC where you have to send in your ID and blah, 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 and we write you a 1099.
Right.
So, but if you want crypto, that's great. We send you crypto.
So that's an easy one to answer. Thank you, Dee. Another one that might be a little longer, like Dee mentioned from Kavita Kat McMillan, once you own a part of the song, you would then have the right to sample that and use it creatively as you choose. That will depend on the artist. Basically, the contract with the artist will be able to define, and that's one of the conversation that's ongoing at the moment, is to which level we're authorizing the people that own the NFT to reuse it and what kind of license agreement. So there's probably going to be various tiers in terms of the artist emitting the slice could say, you just own a right to listen, or you own a right to repurpose with my authorization, or you own total right. which is kind of something we've observed with the Creative Commons. You have, quote, source or free use, or you have the zero comment where you can do anything with it. So that's kind of where we're going at the moment. So I hope that answers your question. DJ Nirav, again, love the questions, bro. Can slices be flipped? That's a really good one. Third-party market. So say Marshmallow joins colourBox and someone buys a bunch of slices from his upcoming hit. Can that person sell his slices to a third party or mega fan and increase arbitrary price? We've covered all questions for today. Again, big shout out to Sharon Jackson. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Dee, you've done amazing work. This man has worked around the clock for the last few weeks to get this ready for you guys. This is fresh out of the oven. Be excited. You are witnessing firsthand history in the making. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll be noticing everyone. Please leave some comments in the page. We'll be hosting this on a weekly basis, and we look forward to have you again on our webinar.
Yeah, what I would like to do is on this Thursday, when we do the next webinar, maybe one of us can have a track. We wanted to do it this time. We wanted to kind of sit here and NFTize the track live. We didn't get time to it. We just kind of figured out how to make this happen. But next time, maybe we can have one or two of us NFTize our tracks. How about that?
Right. Sharon's track is ready for today. So I think we might do a video. We're not going to do it live right now because I think we've kind of went over time, but we'll do a screencast of the process of minting the track, and we'll share it in the group so you can see how it's done. And then anybody else, I know Nirav, you have some great tracks that I'm not really familiar with the other people on the channel at the moment, but I'm sure you all have some music of some sort. So we'd love for you to be ready next time you come and have a track that you'd like to share with the world.
So next week we'll be meeting on Zoom also.
I think so.
I think we'll avoid.
Yeah, I think
Facebook Live.
Facebook is a fail. Right now, we're not.
We'll do Zoom.
We attempted something, but I spent like 90 minutes before it trying to make it work. Dee was fumbling with it too. We got a lot of error messages. It's just not built for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
this is I super appreciate it. Thanks for all the hard work, and I still have a ton of questions, but I'm gonna come next week and learn more. And
hey, and feel free to reach out if you want to do a one-on-one. I'm available every day. I can walk you through a lot of what's going on. So drop me a friend request. You'll on Facebook, you'll find me on the group. I'm one of the group admin. And anybody here also that wants to talk about this more, I'll walk you through every step of the way. Especially people that are not familiar with cryptocurrency or blockchain technology. I know it can be a little daunting at first. I'll gladly walk you through, step by step. We want to make it as easy to mint NFT and sell NFT as PayPal is making it to buy Bitcoin.
HarmonyOne is a coin, is a
It's a blockchain.
It's a blockchain.
Do they have a native token?
One.
Okay.
Right. You can buy some one. You'll have to swap on Uniswap or anywhere.
You can also
you'll need a bit of one.
Yeah. So HarmonyOne just got a collaboration with Binance. So if you go to Binance US, you can buy directly from there.
Great.
Right. And it's really incredibly cheap. Like I think I spent probably 20 cents to mint the first track that I put on it. The whole thing is really like compared to Ethereum that has like, minting fees of about $200 at this point. Depending on how clogged the network can be. Harmony is just like pocket change. So that's why we decided to start with Harmony. And it's going to be super easy after to swap from Harmony to the Ethereum blockchain if you want to invest the minting fee.
That's great. Super appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Really, really great. You guys did a good job. Very exciting thing that you have going here. Glad that Dave brought me in on this.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Tony, DJ, Simon.
I met Dee 5 years ago in Guatemala, and back then he was saying exactly that he wanted to build an app like this.
Oh yeah.
And he had the idea back then. He didn't know. I don't know if blockchain was even something that existed in it.
It existed,
but
you could use
it
as
back
NFTs and all that.
Right.
The way they exist right now. So I'm glad that it's happening.
And I thought about that when I heard about NFTs. I thought, I wonder if Dee's onto that, and it turns out he was.
Right.
Well done.
Totally.
Yeah.
Persistence.
Simon.
I want to congratulate you guys on putting this together. I think it's wonderful that you've already got a couple of artists that I enjoy, like Mose Yemen
Oh, that's
Joe.
testnet. None of them are there. That sounds
Okay. I was like,
They're
how did he
coming,
score
though.
these artists? That's
They're
amazing.
No, but
coming.
yeah, Mo is a good friend of mine. So, I think he's
Okay.
going to be, we know him from Guatemala, like Simon.
Oh, of course. Eagle's
He used to
Nest.
come and play at the tribal village where we were up
Okay.
to no good.
Right.
Yeah, just a little story from my side relating to what Simon was saying is, of course, Dee and I, we were in a group a long time ago, and Dee was talking about this kind of stuff. And I remember vividly how clear a vision he had of music sharing and blockchain and all this stuff. And here you are doing it. So congrats on that.
Okay.
And, when I was working as a cashier at Biosat in Val David before I moved to Sutton in the Eastern Townships, about 5 years ago, I would say 5, maybe 6. I had a client, come up to me, a regular client, at the cash and say, have you heard about Bitcoin and stuff? I'm like, yeah, of course I've heard about it. She's like, man, you should invest in Bitcoin. I'm like, I'm a DJ. I work part-time as a cashier at a health food store. I don't really have the money to invest in Bitcoin. She's like, even if you have a small amount, just invest that and you will be amazed what happens. Of course, I didn't listen to her advice. Bitcoin was selling for like $1,200. So getting in early on stuff, even in small amounts can be really, really helpful. Like Apple, like in the beginning, like anything like that. So just a shout out to you guys for creating this opportunity for musicians to get in early. And the only advice I would give you would be, yeah, of course, cater to the musicians who are curious about technology, but does it pass the Sharon test? Can somebody who doesn't like technology enjoy the process and keep it simple for them? So that would be my only advice.
Love it. The Sharon test. I'll let her know.
You guys are going to help
like
me
that.
test it.
And Nirav, I'll send you a message. I'd love to record that testimony of yours. I think that really encapsulates the vision that we're
Sweet.
trying to put together. Is a lot of people passed on Bitcoin. I passed on Ethereum. Dee brought me to the foundation of Ethereum. I met Vitalik before they even put the test net online. And frankly, when I look back, I'm like, wow, we're building history, and people who have a chance to really get on board right now at the beginning of this journey are incredibly blessed. And I feel incredibly blessed that Dee has brought me on board with him. So thank you, Dee, for making this happening. Thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to have you. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm fully available on Facebook to help you mint. And we hope to see some of you back to mint it live with everyone else next week.
Awesome, guys. All right. See you all
Good to
soon.
meet y'all.
Bye.
NFTs your music.